Hi everyone. Today we are going to read this story. It is called Papi, How Many Stars Are in the Sky? And this is a book about 1, 2, 3 children and their grandpa. They call their grandpa Papi. And the children's names are Maria, Carlos, and Ariana. What do you think they're going to look at in this book? Do you think they're going to look at the stars? I do too. Whenever they visited their grandparents' farm, Ariana, Carlos, and Maria gathered after dinner to listen to their grandfather's stories. On warm nights, they sat out on the porch with grandfather rocking peacefully in his old wooden rocking chair. Can you rock like you're in a rocking chair? Have you ever seen one of these? It's a chair you can rock in. He always waited until dusk to begin. Dusk is when the sun is gone. Like children everywhere, the children had a favorite story. And like grandparents everywhere, the grandfather never tired of telling it. That night was a perfect night for that story, and they looked up to the evening sky just beginning to fill with its bright, shiny stars. The children began to chant, Papi, ¿cuántas estrellas hay en el cielo? Papi, how many stars are in the sky? So they have a favorite story about the stars. Papi gazed lovingly at each of his grandchildren. He looked at them and told them, ¿Cuánto piensas tú? He asked them, how many do you think? Carlos raised his arm to the starry skies. Can you raise up your arms and look at the skies? He says, there must be a zillion. He's learning about big numbers. He's heard of them before. The grandfather laughed heartily. Ha, ha, ha. Well, Nico, that is pretty close. Maybe we'd better count them. But first, I have to tell you the story about the stars and why they are in the sky. And knowing the story was about to begin, the children pulled themselves even closer to their grandfather. Ariana nestled comfortably in his lap, while the others leaned against his legs. Just as he had countless times before, Papi gazed up toward the stars and pointed his finger. You see, mijos, every time a child is born, a new star is added to the sky, and that star shines forever for that child. And that is why there are so many bright shining stars. Every child is a gift from the universe, and each star tells the story of a child's life. As they listened, the children dreamily searched the starry sky, imagining all the children in the world. And they tried to find the stars that were theirs and told the stories of their lives. Look at these pictures in the sky. Their grandfather's soothing voice, that means very calming, continued. If you look around, you can imagine that the stars make pictures. We can tell stories about the pictures. Since tonight is a fall night, we see the fall animals. See, over there is a bear that once chased your father in the forest. Can you see the ladle? A ladle is a big soup spoon. Toward the back of the bear, it tells the story of the delicious stew your mother makes for you. Can you see that? There's a big spoon. Can you put the spoon in a bowl and eat it up? Have you ever seen a picture in the sky? Over there is a lizard like the one I once caught at the water pond. See? It's very hard to see, but it's in there. There's the lizard he sees. We're looking. And through the middle of it all runs the bright starry path of the Milky Way. That's all the dust in the sky that looks like it's very hard to see if you're in the city, though. Leading you back home if you ever get lost. What do you see in this picture? Knowing that the favorite part of the story was nearing, the children repeated their chorus. Papi, ¿cuántas estrellas hay en el cielo? How many stars are in the sky? Patiently, the grandfather began. Wow, let's count them. Ariana, cuéntalas. You count. Sweet little Ariana looked at the sky with steady eyes and proclaimed, una, look, there's one big one. And the other children smiled, and the grandfather lovingly answered, Yes, Ariana, you are so right. There is one big star in the sky. Does anyone else want to count the stars in the sky, Papi asked. Carlos answered, I'm learning to count in school. Let me count. Una estrella, dos estrellas, tres estrellas, cuatro estrellas, cinco estrellas, seis estrellas, siete estrellas, ocho estrellas, nueve estrellas, 10 estrellas. He counted 10 stars. Would you like to count with me? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Uh-oh, Carlos ran out of numbers. With a deep laugh, the grandfather said, Yes, Carlos, there are 10 stars in the sky, but if we keep counting like that, we will never get to bed. Maria, do you want to count? So she counted like a little kid. He counted like a kid who's getting bigger. And now we're going to have Maria, the big kid, count. Maria counted carefully. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. Shall I keep counting, Papi? So she's counting by 5. She's counting the groups. Chuckling softly, the grandfather said, What do you think, children? Should Maria keep counting? But the children knew their grandfather had finally reached their part. Together they shouted, Papi, cuenta tú. Dinos cuántas estrellas hay en el cielo. Papi, you count. You tell us how many stars there are in the sky. With his calm voice, the grandfather said, Mijos, look at the stars in the night sky. All my life I have been counting the stars. And now I know that there are 50 estrellas in the sky. The children howled with delight. 50! Hay más de 50. 50. There is more than 50. And just as he had said countless times before, so he said this many times before, the grandfather shook his head saying, No, not the number. 50. Can you guys say 50? That means 50. But sin without cuenta, counting. Can you say sin cuenta? Which means infinity. There are so many stars you can't count them all. Your lives are like that too. There are so many things you can do or be, you can't count them all. Just like you can't count all the stars. There are no limits. What are some of the things you think you can do? It says there are so many things you can do, just like there are so many stars in the sky. And he put his grandchildren to bed. The grandfather sang a lullaby to them. He sang it in Spanish just as he had heard it sung when he was a child. Look, he's got Adriana in his arms. Can you rock her with me? Duérmete, mi niño, duérmete solito. Cuando te despiertas, te daré atolito. Duérmete, mi niña, duérmete, mi sol. Duérmete, pedazo de mi corazón. And they're all going to sleep like that. Sang them a song about how much he loves them. Do you have a favorite story in your family? Have you ever gone outside to look at the stars? Let me know. Goodbye.